Let's have a real conversation for the next half hour. You've noticed a shift, a certain distance creeping in, and you're wondering what happened. You might think it's about something you said or didn't say, but often it's deeper than that. It's about energy. And here's the raw truth. No matter who you are or what you look like, certain behaviors can quietly drain attraction without you even realizing it. The wild part? Most guys are completely blind to these subtle mistakes. So, let's pull back the curtain and get to work on the real foundation. Because your presence, your vibe, matters more than any superficial trait. Think about this for a second. Have you ever sent a casual message, then immediately stared at your screen, anxiety bubbling up? Your mind races. Did that sound right? Maybe she'll misinterpret it. I should clarify, add more context, make absolutely sure she gets my tone. Sound familiar? Here's what happens next. You end up sending a novel when a sentence would have sufficed. This urge to over-explain, to control her perception, sends a signal louder than any words: insecurity. People are incredibly perceptive to tone. They feel the energy behind lengthy justifications. That energy feels heavy, like you're walking on eggshells. It doesn't breathe. The alternative? Communicate with clarity and then let it be. Trust your words. For instance, instead of a detailed report like, "Sorry for the late reply, my phone battery died right as my cousin arrived unexpectedly, and then I had to help my mom with something urgent," you could simply say, "Got tied up earlier. What's up with you?" Same core message, but one carries a weight of worry, the other carries an air of assured simplicity. Which feels more grounded to you? Let me know in the comments below if you've ever caught yourself over-explaining like that. It's more common than you think. Now, let's talk about your time. Here's a classic pattern. The phone chimes, and no matter what you're doing, working, hanging with friends, in the middle of a workout, you stop and reply instantly. You clear your schedule at the slightest hint of her availability. You find it hard to ever say no. It feels like showing interest, right? But consider this. Even your closest friend doesn't receive that level of immediate, constant priority. The underlying message of unlimited, 24/7 availability isn't devotion. It often reads as having no central purpose, no mission of your own. A compelling life is a busy one, filled with passions, goals, and commitments. When you preserve that, your interactions become a choice, not a reflex. Respond when it's natural, not from a place of desperate hope. Your time has value. When you treat it that way, others will too. This leads us to a delicate point: affirmation. Everyone appreciates genuine appreciation, but there's a critical difference between a thoughtful compliment and constant validation. When praise is handed out like frequent flyer miles, "You're so amazing. You're literally the prettiest. I can't believe you're even here with me." It shifts from being sweet to sounding like a fixation. It creates an uneven dynamic, subtly placing her on a pedestal above you. Attraction thrives on connection, not worship. One specific, observant compliment holds more power than a dozen generic ones. Instead of the broad, "You're so beautiful," try something rooted in a detail. "You have a really cool sense of style," or "The way you talked about that project was genuinely interesting." It shows you're paying attention to her, not just feeding a need for approval. If this is hitting home, show me some love by hitting that like button. It helps more guys find this conversation. A major attraction killer is the performance. Some men feel an invisible pressure to audition, listing accomplishments, name-dropping, or steering every conversation to highlight their strengths. It's as if you believe you're being graded on a secret scorecard. But here's what that really communicates: please validate me. Please see my worth. The need for external approval is something people can sense instantly, and it feels heavy. True confidence is quiet. It discusses interests and experiences because they're genuinely enjoyable, not because they sound impressive. Talk about the hike you did because you love the view, not because you want her to know you're athletic. The energy is entirely different. Now, on to emotional calibration. This one is crucial. Have you ever noticed her mood seem a little distant or quiet, and your internal alarm bells go off? The immediate thoughts: is it me? What did I do? Is she losing interest? This anxiety can then leak out as probing questions. Are you mad at me? Or, you seem off. Is everything okay with us? When you do this, you inadvertently make her responsible for managing your emotional state. That pressure is a massive burden. It transforms you from a potential partner into an emotional dependent. People need space to have their own moods, bad days, quiet moments, stress that has nothing to do with the relationship, without having to reassure someone else. The masculine, grounded approach is to assume the best, give space, and check in from a place of stability, not fear. Instead of, "Why are you so dry today?" you could say, "You seem a bit in your own world today. Hope you're doing all right." It's the same care, delivered from a place of strength, not panic. I want to hear from you. Drop a comment right now. Which of these mistakes do you recognize in your own past behavior? Let's discuss authenticity. Pay attention to this. Are you the same person around your close friends as you are when she's around? With your friends, you're probably more relaxed, more expressive, quicker to joke and engage. Then she enters the scene, and you might become quieter, more reserved, overly filtered, a background character in your own story. This shift is noticeable. It feels like you're performing, editing your true personality because you think a censored version is more acceptable. But here's the reality. The person she was initially intrigued by is you, the genuine, unfiltered you. She wants to connect with a real person, not a carefully constructed representative. This doesn't mean being disrespectful or overly crude. It means maintaining your core vibe, your humor, your opinions, your spirit, while simply being more composed and respectful. Let her see the man your friends know. Finally, we must address respect, which is the absolute bedrock of lasting attraction. Observe the patterns. If she consistently cancels plans last minute, only replies when it's convenient for her, gives minimal effort, breadcrumbing, or generally disrespects your time, and you consistently respond with "no worries" or "it's totally fine," you are, perhaps unintentionally, teaching her how to treat you. You are showing her that your boundaries are flexible and your self-respect is negotiable. This isn't about her being a bad person. It's about human nature. We are drawn to, and can only sustain attraction for, those we genuinely respect. Setting a calm, simple boundary isn't about being angry or issuing ultimatums. It's about calmly stating your standards. For example, if plans are frequently canceled, you might say, "I enjoy our time together, but last-minute changes don't really work for my schedule. Let's plan for a time that's firm for both of us." This statement is confident, self-assured, and infinitely more attractive than passive acceptance. Make sure you're part of this journey. Subscribe and join a community of men who are leveling up every single day. The real transformation starts when you decide to show up differently. We've covered the major pitfalls, the subtle behaviors that can cause interest to fade. But remember, avoiding mistakes is just the defensive play. It stops the leak. The real question is, how do you proactively build that magnetic pull, that genuine curiosity, that "I want him" energy? It's about cultivating a life and identity that is independently full and compelling. It's about mastering your own emotions, pursuing your mission with passion, and interacting from a place of abundance, not scarcity. This is a continuous practice, not a one-time fix. Your next step? Share this with a friend who needs to hear it. The conversation gets better when we learn together. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want you to reflect. Which one of these points resonated most? Is it the over-explaining, the constant availability, the performance? Your awareness is the first and most powerful step. From here, it's about consistent, mindful action. Build your life so full that any connection is a wonderful addition, not the central source of your happiness. That is the energy that draws people in and, more importantly, keeps them interested. Don't let this be the end of your growth. Hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and let's keep this going. I'm here with new insights every week to help you navigate these waters. See you in the comments section. I read them all.